Is there truly such a thing as the worst golf course in America? The answer might astonish you, particularly when you discover that a river runs through this controversy. Last August, a website called My Golf Spy sent ripples through the golfing world by officially declaring Leo J. Martin Golf Course the absolute worst in the United States. https://news/opinions/ these are the 10 worst golf courses in America. What's particularly striking is that Massachusetts somehow managed to claim an unfortunate distinction. 3 of the top 10 worst courses in the entire country found their way onto this particular list. Among those dishonored mentions was Ponkapaw Golf Course in Canton, affectionately known by weekend golfers as Ponky, which secured the 5th spot on the list. Norwood Country Club wasn't far behind, landing at number 3. Here's where it gets fascinating. At least Ponky can boast some cultural significance. Back in 1996, renowned sports writer Rick Riley penned a hilarious and perceptive novel called Missing Links. https://books.google.com/books/about.missinglinks, inspired by a group of middle-aged friends who regularly played at Ponky and devised clever schemes to sneak onto a more exclusive private club. Now, let's be transparent about something. The methodology My Golf Spy employed to make these sweeping judgments isn't exactly what you'd call scientifically rigorous. They essentially conducted an extensive review of social media platforms for ratings and comments to arrive at their conclusions. The feedback regarding Ponky, Norwood, and Martin was particularly scathing, to put it mildly. The comments about these courses were brutally honest. Regarding Ponky, this place wouldn't even qualify as a goat track. I wouldn't play here if I was paid. About Norwood, calling this a country club is like calling Burger King fine dining. And for the Martin, cannot call this place a golf course. Greens and tee boxes are non-existent. Some of the holes are just fairway with a flag in the center. Fairways resemble a stony beach. Perfect place to twist an ankle. Wouldn't play it again for free. With a level of sarcasm that could leave permanent marks, My Golf Spy proclaimed, with an astonishingly low Google rating of 2.7, Leo J. Martin is only considered a golf course because it calls itself one. But here's the thing. As someone who has always had a soft spot for underdogs, I decided to experience Leo J. Martin firsthand with my son just last week. The greens fees, https://madcrggolf.com/green fees, were remarkably affordable. $17 for me as a senior for 18 holes, which wouldn't even purchase you a sandwich at most private clubs. My son's fee was $27, identical to what Ponky charges. For comparison, Norwood Country Club, being privately owned, charges between $37 to $46 for regular players and $34 to $43 for seniors like myself. Significantly more than these state-run courses. And don't forget the additional expense for golf carts. Calling them greens fees is somewhat misleading though, because, well, the greens at Martin are actually more brown than green. But in golf, as in life, you generally get what you pay for. Private clubs charge tens of thousands just for the privilege of joining, and then tens of thousands more annually for those perfectly manicured greens and fairways. Public courses like Martin and Ponky serve different purposes, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that mission. I can't in good conscience deny the validity of the harsh reviews about Martin. The course certainly isn't in the best condition, needs more attentive care, and definitely more fertilizer. Rounds can take longer too, since there aren't many low-handicap players there to maintain a brisk pace. Yet, I haven't come here to bury Leo J. Martin, but to praise it. It represents an accessible option for individuals who lack the financial means to join a private club or don't have friends wealthy enough to extend regular invitations to play. We had so much fun. It's a wonderful place to learn the game, and everyone who works here couldn't be nicer. This comment brought a smile to Martin Hanley's face. As a supervisor at the Martin, he admitted that the negative attention the course has received since the website declared it America's worst stings. I don't think it's fair, he stated. And I don't think you can judge a golf course, or anything for that matter, by consulting social media. He's got a point there. Mostly, though, Hanley expressed sadness that the negative reviews lack balance and perspective. We have a great culture here, he emphasized. There are lots of good people who work here and who play here. We serve the community. As if to prove his point, while Hanley spoke outside the clubhouse, a golf program for autistic individuals was being conducted right over his shoulder. Hanley and another supervisor, Vera Runlet, who paused from moving golf carts to chat, expressed pride in how Martin attracts people from all walks of life. Different social strata, ethnic backgrounds, cultures, economic circumstances, and abilities, united only by their shared love of a game once cynically described as a good walk spoiled. Hanley mentioned a retired Boston University physicist in his 90s who plays regularly and enjoys discussing life's bigger questions with him rather than just golf. When I get here sometimes, when it's still dark out, there are people in the parking lot waiting for it to get light so they can tee off, Hanley shared with evident affection. This place is a gem, if not very polished. A little money, and this place would shine. He's not wrong about that potential. The Martin is reminiscent of Charlie Brown's small droopy Christmas tree that stands straight and tall after Linus wraps it in his blanket and says, maybe it just needs a little love. https://TBWI enabled and says, maybe it just needs a little love, that Martin. But here's the controversial part. There's no security blanket looming on the horizon for Martin. And while it would be comforting to think the Department of Conservation and Recreation would provide that figurative blanket, I wouldn't hold my breath. And this is where the real inequality in golf becomes apparent. The Martin could be spectacular if the state cared about ordinary people as much as country clubs care about their wealthy patrons. During my recent round with my son, we were approaching our second shots on the par 5, 535-yard fourth hole, which somewhat resembled a Nebraska prairie, when we watched a flock of geese rise slowly and gracefully, forming a perfect V before veering off toward the Charles River. That's another thing about this place, Martin Hanley told us after we finished our round, smiling broadly with arms folded across his chest. The nature on this course is amazing. A river runs through it. Kevin Cullen is a Globe columnist. He can be reached at kevin.cullen@globe.com. So I have to ask, in a world where golf often seems divided by wealth and exclusivity, shouldn't courses like Leo J. Martin be valued for what they provide to their communities, rather than judged by the same standards as elite private clubs? Isn't there room in golf for courses that focus on accessibility and community spirit rather than perfection? What do you think? Should we celebrate these imperfect courses that bring joy to so many? Or should we hold all golf courses to the same impossibly high standards? Share your thoughts in the comments below.